Howdy, Cowboys Nation. It's time to gear up and immerse yourself in the excitement on Cowboys News TV. Grab your favorite jersey, snag your go-to snack, and settle into the comfiest spot on the couch. Get ready for a thrilling exploration of the latest and greatest events surrounding America's team. This isn't just your typical sports update. It's a full-fledged expedition into the heart and soul of the Dallas Cowboys. Expect twists, turns, and a touch of that authentic Texas charm to keep you thoroughly entertained. So, before we plunge into the gridiron drama, do us a solid. Wrangle that subscribe button. Subscribing isn't just a simple click. It's your pass to join us on this epic journey. Help us reach the impressive milestone of 7,000 subscribers. Lasso that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and let's kick off this football fiesta with enthusiasm. Cowboys Nation, your support means the world to us, so let's thrive and relish the ride.
The spotlight is shifting from the coaching drama to the impending free agency questions for the Dallas Cowboys. One of the most significant uncertainties revolves around the future of All-Pro left tackle Tyron Smith. At 33, Smith has battled injuries, missing 37 games in the last 4 seasons. Now, as he finds himself out of contract, the looming question is whether he'll hang up his cleats and walk into the Pro Football Hall of Fame or return for one last shot at a Lombardi Trophy with coach Mike McCarthy. The Cowboys, seemingly preparing for Smith's potential departure, drafted Tyler Smith in 2022. However, Jerry Jones has a history of standing by his players, especially someone of Tyron's caliber. When Tyron Smith is on the field, he still performs at an elite level. Despite dealing with injuries, he earned second-team All-Pro honors last season, showcasing his prowess with only 21 pressures and 3 sacks allowed in 610 pass-blocking plays. McCarthy acknowledges Smith's value when he's healthy, calling this season his best since 2020. McCarthy expressed optimism about Smith's health going into the offseason, noting that avoiding major postseason surgeries is a significant advantage. However, the decision about Smith's future remains uncertain, and discussions between the team and the veteran will continue. Will Tyron Smith return for a 14th season with the Cowboys, chasing the elusive Lombardi Trophy? Or will he gracefully step away, awaiting his Hall of Fame induction? The answer remains unknown, perhaps even to Smith himself. Either way, the veteran has rightfully earned the privilege to take his time in making this pivotal decision. So, the team is going with the approach of doing the same thing over next year and expecting it to change. Well, color me skeptical, with some tinges of disgust. I was not as disappointed in the announcement that Mike McCarthy would get to finish out his contract because there are some indications that he got some real improvements out of Dak Prescott and the passing game. He did show some concerning tendencies, particularly reverting to more conservative behavior when he faced good teams, but it is still something that could possibly be built on. There was none of that from the defense under Quinn. 2023 was almost all regression on that side of the ball. Admittedly, there were key injuries that played a part, but other teams take those in stride. Dallas proved very inept in stopping other teams when they could not get turnovers and sacks. Both of those are hard places to maintain consistency, especially taking the ball away. When they failed, losses ensued. The run defense was often suspect, with Jonathan Hankins missing time and Motzie Smith following the normal trajectory for a rookie DT, which is to not come into their own for a couple of years. But more important was the state of the linebacker core. Promising rookie DeMarvion Overshown was lost in the preseason, then stalwart Leighton Vander Esch went on IR midyear. Nothing was done to address this. We don't know how much of that was Quinn insisting he could get the job done with converted safeties, or if he was handcuffed by management. In any case, it was just a failure. I am not at all optimistic Quinn is going to fix anything. I admit, I'm hoping he gets hired away. It is easier to see what needs to be fixed when the problems weren't of your own creation. Counterpoint, David. I am very much on record that this defense needs to change, much in the same way that last year's offense needed to change. Which is to say, it doesn't need an overhaul anytime you finish in the top 5 in defensive DVOA for 3 straight years. You know you've got a good thing going, but there are definitely some tweaks that need to be made. I don't have a single shred of doubt that Mike McCarthy and Dan Quinn are not blind to that fact. The question is whether they agree on how those tweaks should look. I do believe that this question will play a role in how Quinn evaluates the head coach jobs he's interviewing for. Of course, the team has come out publicly and said they'd love to have him here next year, but if McCarthy and Quinn ultimately disagree over what changes need to be made, it makes sense for both sides if Quinn takes a promotion elsewhere. In previous years, he's opted to stay in large part because he believed the Cowboys were on the cusp of greatness, but this offseason is the first time that Quinn and his defense have faced a crossroads like this. If Quinn really does stay in Dallas for 2024, that will tell me that he and McCarthy are in lockstep on what needs to be fixed and how to do it. And why would that be a bad thing? This partnership is 36-15 together in the regular season. Point to the Tom. You have the right to your opinion, no matter. Okay, I'll stop with the snark. Look, last year, the 12-5 record looked a lot like it was almost in spite of the defense, not because of it. Just one late stop against the Dolphins would have boosted the total, and there were the 3 games where the other teams just breezed to big leads. I honestly don't know just how they need to fix it. NFL coaches should, however. The fact Quinn came up with no answers as the season progressed, plus how his defense looked at its absolute worst in the biggest game of the year, doesn't exactly inspire confidence. Now my concern is that those other NFL teams are going to see the same thing and cool on wanting Quinn to come in. I do see teams that are looking for a culture change still having some interest, but to me, that would almost have to come with the requirement that Quinn bring in a defensive coordinator who would have real authority, with Quinn focusing on the overall team and letting his assistants handle the heavy lifting in game planning and calling the plays. I may be affected by my almost total focus on the Cowboys, making the problems magnified in my view. That could be different for those not immersed in everything blue and silver. I certainly hope so. I think it is time for Quinn to move on. Additionally, his departure would at least shake things up a little, if not enough to put Dallas on a different and hopefully more successful course. Keeping the staff together would likely make McCarthy more comfortable, and I don't want that. I want him to feel the pressure and urgency to turn things around in a year that is likely going to determine whether he keeps his job. I don't think having Quinn, with whom he seems to have a very easy relationship, will do that. Frankly, I would rather the team cut ties with Quinn already to send a bit of a message. I wonder if they did not do so because they did not want to mess up his chances to get hired elsewhere. Counterpoint, David. Unless something has changed that is not yet public, McCarthy is going to be coaching in the final year of his contract. The last time that happened in Dallas, it resulted in McCarthy having a sleepover with Jerry Jones and telling tall tales about watching every second of footage from the Cowboys' 2019 season. So if you're interested in him feeling the pressure, I think that's already covered. A year ago, McCarthy bet on himself by taking over the offense, and I think we can agree that he won that bet. Now, though, the biggest area for improvement is out of his control in the sense that McCarthy doesn't coach defense. But if he felt enough pressure a year ago to take it upon himself to fix the offense, he surely feels as much likely more pressure to fix the defense. Naturally, it would make sense for McCarthy to assign that task to someone he trusts, which is why I believe we'll see either Quinn or Joe Witt Jr., whose relationship with McCarthy goes back to Green Bay, calling the defense next year. There are other defensive coaches out there that would be fun to see in Dallas. I'm especially fond of Wink Martindale, but very few of those coaches actually know McCarthy, and fewer know the players. As we learned with Mike Nolan, knowing your players and what they're capable of can make a world of difference in on-field success. If the fate of this team rests on the ability of the defense to take a step forward next year, I'd rather it be someone with a proven ability to work with these guys. Quinn has already proven he can produce top-level results. If he can't figure out a fix, well, there's another guy already in the building. But I think it's a good thing that McCarthy feels he can trust whoever ends up coordinating the defense next year. Point to the Tom. I guess trust is needed. I just worry about not enough changing. We have seen the cautious route play out before, and so long it has been a dead end. I am not going to get my hopes up next year until I see Dallas beat a team like the 49ers, and they will get that and other opportunities. All right, gather round, Cowboys Nation. We've got ourselves an intriguing story making the rounds, and I reckon it's more click-worthy than a Cowboy showdown. So, word on the street, or rather, on the Bleach Report, is that there's talk of the Cowboys making a move for none other than Alvin Kamara this offseason. Now, I get it. Our running game has been about as effective as a screen door on a submarine, and Alvin Kamara, he's a big name, a fantasy football stud, you know the drill. But hold your horses, 'cause there are some issues with this that need sorting out. First and foremost, the guy's asking for a cool $1.8 million in 2024 and a whopping $24.9 million in fake money come 2025. Now, I ain't no capologist, but that's a hefty tab for someone whose recent performance has been a tad lackluster. Tony Pollard, bless his heart, outperformed Kamara last season, and that's not setting the bar high, folks. Let's talk numbers. Kamara averaged under 4 yards a carry, and his pass-catching game was more of a check-down routine than a deep threat. I mean, 75 catches for 466 yards? That's 6 yards a catch. I've seen tortoises move faster. So, while the name may be big, I'm concerned he might be past his prime. And here's the kicker, the Bleach Report didn't even spill the beans on what picks we'd be trading for this gamble. Some folks are saying a second-round pick should do the trick. Now, call me old-fashioned, but are we just trading based on vibes and names, or are we watching these games? So, here's the $1 million, or should I say $24.9 million, question. Would you trade for Alvin Kamara? Hit T for trade or P for pass in the comments. Me? It's a hard pass. You can find aging running backs in free agency without breaking the bank and giving up valuable draft picks. Now, let's address the elephant in the room, our run game. It's been on life support for the past 3 years, and we can't keep relying on QB keepers and fancy receiver handoffs. We've become a bottom-tier run offense, and it's time to fix it. I'm not saying we turn into a run-first team, but we sure as heck need a ground game that can carry its weight. Defense can't save us every time, and expecting the quarterback to do it all is like asking a cowboy to ride 2 horses at once. It ain't gonna end well. So, Cowboys Nation, sound off in the comments, trade for Kamara or pass. And let's fix this run game, 'cause we've got a reputation to uphold. This is Cowboys Talk, where we break down the plays harder than a bull breaking out of the chute. Y'all stay tuned.